Hello everybody, this is Ms. Molcano, and today I want to go through an assignment that you guys are going to have to complete. It is graphing practice assignment. I'm going to walk you through it step by step because it's a new skill for a lot of us. It specifically asks you to use Google Sheets to create data tables and graphs. So I'm going to show you how to do that step by step. Basically this right now that we're looking at is the assignment handout that you're going to be provided. So I'm just showing you to make sure we're looking at the same thing. So let's get right into it. So for scenario 1, you're given some data right here, and you're asked for this data. This data was collected for a number of years. It shows the average high temperatures in Connecticut for each month of the year. Here's the data. The first question is asking you to make a data table to represent the data. It says that your data must have a proper title, column labels. So let's see how we're going to do that in Google Sheets. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open myself a new tab in Chrome. And I'm going to open up Google Sheets. So you can do that from this little wafer over here. You can just go to that, and there should be something that says Sheets, just like this. You click on that, and it will give you this kind of window. You click on blank, and here's your blank Google Sheet that you can start working from. All right? So I'm actually going to go to one that I already started for you guys, but basically this is what you're going to start with. So it's going to look just like this. The first thing I would do is give it a title. So let's give it the same title as our assignment because that is basically what you're going to submit to me. So let's call it Graphing Practice. So all I did was click in this box, type Graphing Practice, enter, all set. All right. Next thing you're going to do is we're going to go and start creating this data table that the assignment right here is asking us for. So when we create a data table, we're going to list our data, which is right here. We're going to take it and list it in columns. I'm going to show you how to do that. We also have to be careful to make sure that we label our columns and that we actually give it a proper title. So let's see how we're going to do that. So I'm going to go right here, maybe start over here. You can pretty much start anywhere. But so I'm going to label my first column. I'm going to list all of the months of the year. So let's just, month is going to be my first column. All the months are going to be listed here. And temperature, let's see. In Fahrenheit, degrees Fahrenheit, which we normally do not use in this class, but just for the purposes of this assignment, we're going to use degrees Fahrenheit. And so this column is going to be all the months of the year. So I'm going to just start typing my data. The data is giving you for each month, January, February, all the way to December, and then the number right next to the month, 36, 39, and so on, is basically the temperature for that month. Okay. So I'm going to go and start listing that. So let me do my months first. So January. So I'm just basically going down to the cell and clicking in it or typing enter, pushing enter to go to the next cell. And I'm just typing in the name of my month. So February, March, and so on. Okay. For the temperature, I'm going to click right here under my column label temperature, and I am gonna go to my sheet and I'm gonna enter the numbers that go with each month. So January is 36, February is 39. So I'm gonna enter those numbers, 36 for January, 39 for February, March is 48, and so on. All right. Now, I already kind of did this so I don't spend so much time doing it live in front of you guys. So I kind of already did this data table right here. But going back, what I want to show you guys is once you have all, let me just do a few more. April, May, and so on. So you guys are going to do all of them, right? So April was 60 and May is 70. Once you enter all of them, we want to make this table look like an actual table. So what I mean by that is let's highlight everything and let's kind of center everything. So I'm just clicking this button over here and I'm making everything go to the center because it makes it look a little bit nicer, I think. And then let's put some borders around it because that makes it look more like a table. So again, I highlight everything, including my labels. I'm going to go to this little icon over here that says borders. I'm going to click on it and you can select different kind of borders. I like to select so that everything is bordered like that. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to enter a title for my table because if I just show you this without a title, that is incomplete. So the title of my table should actually contain both of the variables listed in this table. What are my variables? Well, I got my month, I got my temperature. Those are my two variables. So I'm going to title my table in a way that tells somebody what am I showing in there. So maybe I want to say average high temperature by month of the year in Connecticut. All right. So my title that I just gave it basically lists my two variables. It lists temperature, it lists months of the year, and it gives a little bit more of a description. Now, if this looks a little bit too cluttered over here, no big deal. I can insert a line to kind of declutter it a little bit. So I'm going to click on this row. I'm going to right click it on my mouse, and I'm going to put insert one above. I just inserted a line. All right, just to make it look a little bit less cluttered. So basically, let me copy this from here, which I did before. So let's see. You should basically, I'm just going to put it right here. I'm going to delete this because this was just to show you guys. I'm going to delete this whole thing. All right. So this is the table that you're going to end up with that I just showed you guys how to do, right? Once you did the table, the problem is now asking you to create a bar graph. Actually, going back to this problem 1, let's make sure we covered everything. So it asks us to make a data table, which we just did. It's asking for a proper title, which we did, including both variables, we did. Have appropriate column labels. We have our labels right here. We got month. Let's actually highlight them. So it's very clear what the labels are. There we go. Those are our labels. And then it's asking to list the independent variable in the left column, dependent variable in the right column. That is kind of the standard how we make tables. So make sure to follow this. And we did that here. Independent variable, the variable that is changing is the month of the year. We're purposely looking at changing the month. How, as the month of the year changes, we're purposely looking at that and we're asking ourselves, what are the temperatures? So independent variable is the month. It's in the left column. Dependent variable, the temperature, is in the right column. So we completed this whole point, problem number 1. Problem number 2 is now asking us to take that same data and make a bar graph. All right, and I'm going to show you how to do that. It says that our graph, again, must have a proper title. It must have appropriate axes labels. So labels and titles are super important, guys. And it's also very important how you plot your independent, dependent variables. You can't just randomly put them wherever you want. It is important that they go in a specific place. So I'm going to show you how to make that bar graph right now. So coming back to your data table that you just created, you basically want to grab, this is really important how you grab this because it's going to mess up your graph if you do not grab the correct data. But I'm going to grab all of my data, highlight all of my data here, including my labels, month and temperature. I just highlighted everything. I'm not going to highlight anything outside of that. If I did this like this, it would create a wrong graph for me. So be careful with this. Only grab your table. Then you're going to go to Insert. You're going to click on Chart, and it's going to automatically make a chart for you. It may not make the correct chart. In this case, it did not give me the chart I wanted. My problem was specifically asking me for a bar chart. This is not a bar chart, okay? So I'm not going to just stick with this because Google Sheets gave it to me. I'm going to go here in this chart editor that automatically pops up for me. And instead of line chart, which is what Google Sheets gave me, I'm going to click. I'm going to select one of these bar graphs. That's what I want, okay? So I'm going to select this one. Now it's looking a little bit more like what I want. So let me see if I'm happy with this, because maybe I'm happy with it. I could just leave it as is. Maybe I'm not happy with it and I need to make a few modifications. So basically I can click on this. I can drag it, move it wherever I want. I'm going to put it right next to my data table so I can easily look from one to another. And let me see if I am answering all the questions here. So I made a bar graph. 2.1, do I have a proper title, including both variables? Let me go and check. So it says temperature, Fahrenheit versus month. Not bad for a title, but you know what? I like to be a little bit more descriptive, and I actually want to give it the exact same title that I have for my bar chart, for my data table. So what I'm going to do is click on this. I'm going to double click right on that title, and it's going to allow me to write in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this a little bit. I'm going to call it average high temperature in degrees Fahrenheit versus, I'm going to say, by month in Connecticut. I like this title a little bit better because it's more descriptive. It tells me about where this is, and it's more descriptive to me. If you had left the previous title, I would be okay with that. But the key point is that you have both variables there. Now, the other thing I'm going to look for that is asking me right here, do I have appropriate axes labels? Let me look at my axes. So horizontal axis, it says month. Vertical, temperature, Fahrenheit. That is appropriate. So I'm happy with that. And let me actually make this a little bit bigger. I'm just going to drag the corner. There we go, so we can easily see it. And let me see if I completed this. 2.3. It says plot the independent variable on the horizontal axis and the dependent variable on the vertical. So we said before my independent variable is the month. So that should go in my left column of my table, and it should always go on my horizontal axis of my graph. And that's where it ended up, which is great. My dependent variable is the temperature. It should be on the vertical axis, and you can see that it is. So I'm happy with that. So this right here is what I want you guys to hand in to me for that part of the assignment. There's another part to it. The last thing I want to point out for this part of the assignment is, see down here how it has these sheets. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to click on this sheet, double click, and give it a name. So this was scenario 1. I'm going to put live because I just did this live with you guys, okay? That's the title of my sheet. I'm going to go to part 2 of my assignment, which is this. And I'm actually going to, so I don't clutter my workspace over here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this little plus down here, and it's going to give me a brand new sheet, just like you could see. I'm going to name this scenario 2 live, because I'm going to do it live with you guys right now. Hit enter, and I can start my work with this brand new sheet right here. All right, so let's go through the second scenario, and let's see what they're asking us here. So it says scenario 2. It says the following data table provides the running speed versus heart rate for an adult. So in this data table, it's already given to you. You don't have to do anything. It's giving us, for an adult that's running, here's their running speed, 3 miles per hour, 3.5 miles